Yo, champions-elect Manchester City have just beaten Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 2 goals to nil. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the fascinating tactical battle in this game, the big thing that I learned about Ange Postecoglou tonight, and the form of Heung-min Son. Postecoglou opted for a 4-4-2 diamond or a 4-box-4 formation, as Jimmy Carragher described it, to restrict Manchester City's ability to penetrate through the middle. In possession, one of those four midfielders would drop deep in between Romero and Dragusin, who then split very, very wide. This gave them a lot more passing coverage and security when playing out from the back, which they did really well under the man-to-man press of Manchester City, spearheaded tonight by Kevin De Bruyne. Spurs were so preoccupied with the middle of the pitch that even Heung-min Son, Brennan Johnson, Pedro Porro and Mickey van de Ven spent a great deal of time in the centre, pressing or cutting off passing lanes. This meant that there was so much space out wide for City to exploit. Kyle Walker, Josko Vardiol and Bernardo Silva all picked up the ball with mountains of space down the sides, but the quality of their final pass was just not there. City looked most dangerous in attacking transition when they recovered the ball deep in their own half and zipped the ball through the lines before Spurs really had the chance to assume that defensive shape. But Spurs still defended these situations relatively well, with Dragusin impressing in particular, especially considering how little Premier League football he's actually played. Manchester City, as you'd expect, started the second half with a bit more intensity, and it only took them 7 minutes to take the lead after the break. Romero, of all players, loses a 50-50 challenge to Phil Foden, who then sprints past him and Rodrigo Bentancur, I think it was. He overhits his cross, which is picked up by Bernardo Silva, threads a lovely pass in behind the Spurs backline to pick out Kevin De Bruyne, who squares it for Erling Haaland to tap home. Højbjerg doesn't track De Bruyne's run, and Dragusin hesitates slightly, which gives De Bruyne the time he needs to pick out the big man in the middle. When Manchester City went ahead, they were actually defending for a lot of the time in a 5-4-1 shape, with Bernardo Silva playing as the right side defender. This is something that Arsenal can do as well, but it's something that Liverpool cannot do. Drop the defensive line, assume a more defensive shape, and prioritise protecting a valuable lead. That being said, Spurs did have their chances, most notably when Heung-min Son raced through on goal, capitalising on a Manuel Akanji mistake, only for his attempt to be saved by City's substitute goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega. Super save, brilliant save, but that's a chance you would expect a player of Heung-min Son's quality to take, and a chance we've seen him convert many times. I think Heung-min Son's had a similar season to Mohamed Salah, that the stat merchants will defend them both, citing that they have 26 and 28 goal contributions respectively, but neither have had great seasons in my opinion. There are confounding variables, of course there are, but for me there are far too many poor performances between them for players that many consider to be world class. I also dislike just how much Heung-min Son channels his inner Bruno Fernandes and frustratingly flings his arms in the air to express dissatisfaction with his teammates, which is never highlighted anywhere. I would love to know what Manchester City fans think about the wide positions in their team. So Bernardo Silva is a superb player, but he is a creative midfielder playing wide. His work rate and his security in possession is second to none, and no doubt Guardiola loves the control element that he brings to games. But they were crying out for Riyad Mahrez out there tonight, especially in that first half. They have a similar issue, if you want to call it an issue, at left back. Vardiol has been in the goals recently, but for the amount of ball that he actually receives in the final third, he's not the most prolific. Obviously, again, there are many pros to having a natural central defender playing in that position, especially these days, but I would like to know what City fans think about this. I think a real positive that Spurs can take from this game, aside from denting Arsenal's title hopes, is that Postecoglou has proved to be more tactically flexible than we thought, which is important. I thought he got his tactics spot on. He just doesn't have the players that Manchester City have. They do need another top quality defensive minded midfielder and perhaps a more reliable centre forward if they want to target those Champions League places again next year. But Spurs fans, you watch this team week in, week out. Let me know what you think. How satisfied are you with the season as a whole, and which areas of the team would you most like to see improved going forward? That's all from me. Those are my initial thoughts on the game. Please let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with in the comment section below, and feel free to also let me know your thoughts on the game, especially if you feel like I have overlooked a major point of discussion. Lastly, please give the video a like, and if you do like this sort of content, click subscribe to be notified about future videos. I plan to post a lot more, and thank you so much for watching. Cheers.